You could listen to a safety notice like that all day, couldn't you, if they were as good as that? Our next speaker is profiled on page 12 of the conference handbook. Since being born in Kolkata, India, fate has played a large part in his life. To tell you about that journey and how the challenges have been met and overcome, please welcome on stage Gautam Lewis.
Thank you very much, Alan Jagger, for giving me this opportunity to come and talk to your conference. I am a survivor, a polio survivor. My life started when I was a small boy in India, aged about 18 months, of the poor industrial twin city of Calcutta and Howrah. I was born in 1977, although there is no official record of my birth. I survived polio at a time and a place when 1 in 5 children were dying of the virus. The polio virus is 5,000 years old. It is an infectious disease caused by one of 3 polio viruses. Type 1 being the most dangerous as it attacks the body quickly. The virus enters the body through the mouth or the nose, and infection starts in the gut. If the virus reaches the central nervous system, it can cause muscle paralysis, affecting any part of the body. For me, I have lower limited limb mobility. Polio can result in death or permanent disability. Out of the 3 strains, the second strain has been eradicated, and since the late 90s, only 2 strains are left. Today, I have no memory of my birth mother or father or of anyone in my original family, possibly because I had caught polio and was paralyzed, possibly because there was no money. My mother or father, or indeed my grandmother, were unable to look after me and took me to Mother Teresa's orphanage. It must have taken a lot of courage and mental strain to do that for me. I spent 2 years living in the orphanage with Mother Teresa. My memories from that period are dark, sad, and lonely. I stopped talking for 6 months when I learned that no one was coming to get me. Someone eventually did turn up and take me out of the missionaries of charity to RCFC, the Rehabilitation Centre for Children, where I would undergo 2 years of corrective surgery to give me a chance to be independent. RCFC was established by some amazing people due to the inspiration and back-breaking work of a British nurse, Jane Webb, OBE. Jane died a few years ago shortly after fulfilling her dream of becoming an Indian citizen. RCFC is her legacy to the world, and I owe so much to her, her vision, and all the doctors, physiotherapists, teachers, caliper makers, surgeons, fundraisers, and volunteers who have given up their time either for free or for a pittance to RCFC. My rescuer was Patricia, or as I knew her then, Trisha D, Big Sister, who after completing her university studies, spent time in Calcutta working with children with disabilities. Ever since Patricia was a child, she had dreamt of going to Calcutta specifically, and when she did, she says that it felt like going home. Little did she know she would meet me and we would create a strong bond. That bond was so strong that Patricia decided to adopt me. I think the last thing she imagined she would be doing at the age of 27 was to adopt a 7-year-old boy from Calcutta with polio. Where I left the ghost of my birth mother, a new mother was found, and my life turned upside down from that point on. Because of polio, destiny led me to meet Patricia and to a new life in Auckland, New Zealand. One day I was in an orphanage in India, the next day I was on a beach eating chocolate gelato. This was the first time that I had a sense of belonging. I was given a passport and a birth certificate. I started to learn about families and how to live in a family, how to make new friends from completely different backgrounds. I left New Zealand after 1 year and came to London, where I would meet my grandparents and the rest of my family. I went from speaking Bengali to speaking English with a strong Kiwi accent. I was determined to lose my Bengali in order to show people that I was a Pukka Kiwi Britisher. These are ways to survive in a new world. Schooling began in Auckland and then to Hill House in London, followed by Bedales and Petersfield, a stark contrast for the boy who had once boarded with and was one of India's poorest children. I felt very at home at my boarding school, perhaps because I was used to living with lots of friends of similar ages away from home. I read International Business Studies at Southampton Institute, which was followed by the opening of Level 1, my nightclub in Southampton's Ocean Village. During this period, I became heavily involved in the music side of the business, a factor that would influence my subsequent work in the British music industry. I spent 6 years working in the British music industry at Creation Management with Alan McGee, who was the driving force behind the British rock group Oasis. Creation became highly successful, and I was able to experience the roller coaster bona fide rock and roll lifestyle. I undertook the full management of some famous bands, including Pete Doherty, sorting out tours, recordings and contracts, and anything else that needed sorting out, such as bailing out from jail. One of my strongest memories from the roof of Mother Teresa's orphanage is kite flying, and in looking up at the sky, I also saw the contrails left by jet planes. I longed to be on one, to feel the freedom of flying in the air, no post-polio paralysis to hold me back. I shall also never forget the day I first saw an aeroplane and then flew in one as I left Calcutta. I have always wanted to be a pilot, and I qualified in September 2007 after only 6 months of training. This dream of mine was made real. During my pilot training days, I felt alive and felt a sense of freedom, of being liberated. I started to have new dreams and visualize my future where I wanted to help change people's lives, if not try and change the world. I knew very little about polio. I had overcome polio and worked very hard to be independent and fit. No one is truly that independent. We all need help in some shape or form from those around us. I started to find out more about Mother Teresa and looked at ways in which I could help charities and good causes. After reading my blog, Freedom in the Air, which is about learning to fly, Vivian Fiore from Rotary International's office in Chicago found me and gave me the leadership that I was looking for in polio eradication. I was turning my energies towards new pastures. Using my skills, contacts, and drive instilled from the music industry, I volunteered to support Rotary International's campaign to eradicate polio from India. I was invited to go to India and take part in a national immunization day with Rotarians. This was going to be very special for me. Before leaving for India, I did as much research as possible as to what I should expect. For 20 years, so many people have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to develop this immunization campaign. I arrived in Delhi, which was covered by dense fog last November. I did not know what to expect. I was on my own, and nothing I had researched prepared me for what came next. My first few days were spent with Rotary Polio Plus team giving press conferences to help raise new media coverage for the campaign, and visiting disadvantaged children who were being given an education through Rotarians.